That was perfect.
Thank you. Welcome back.
Nice.
Comic character of the week. We're talking about Gambit tonight, and we're going to give you all the good stuff. All right. So, Dan, why don't you go ahead and kick us off and tell us all the good info on him. Give us his first appearance now, his real first appearance. I'm sure there's no muddy waters here on what his first appearance is. And if you say Hulk 180, I'll kick somebody's butt right now.
Hulk 180, Hulk 180. So how many times do I have to say it, and how many asses are you going to kick?
As many as
how many you got?
How many you got?
Raise your hand in the chat.
What's the great line in the Wild one with Brando? What are y'all rebelling against? You remember what he says?
What you got?
What do you got?
What do you got?
What do you got?
Nice. Well, there's a lot of stuff in his origin. So even though this origin that I wrote here was kind of long, I did cut a lot out of it. So,
thanks.
So Gambit's first.
I see that.
I see what you did there.
Gambit was created by Chris Claremont and Jim Lee. His first appearance was not Uncanny X-Men 266, which came out in August 1990. His first appearance is Uncanny X-Men Annual number 14, which came out 3 weeks before that.
That's
in
debatable.
July of 1990. I don't want to hear, it was a cameo.
It was a cameo.
Because he appeared in multiple pages. He is referred to by name. He interacts with multiple characters. He has dialogue. He goes from being in his own suit to being in an X-Men costume.
The market has spoken, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, the market and I don't want to hear, it was intended that this other book came out first. It doesn't matter. It was
intended the other book came out first.
Well, it doesn't matter because Annual 14 shipped 3 weeks before it. And in fact, it's not, because if you look back at old Marvel comics at the time where it says what's coming out, it lists Uncanny X-Men Annual 14 coming out before Uncanny X-Men 266.
I'm going to have to look at my Marvel Universe cards to get the true definition of his first appearance.
Like I said, folks, not muddy at all. That was perfectly clear. Please continue, Dan.
I'm just saying, if you're going by, the book they appeared in first, it is the one that came out 3 weeks before the one that is on the cover.
And I'm sure Dan is not biased by the fact that he just got his first appearance last week.
No, I said that for the longest. That's why I wanted to get the Annual, because that is his true first appearance. But anyways, this could be another debate for another time, which I'm sure we'll have later on in this episode. But Gambi's real name, as far as we know, is Remy LeBeau. He is from New Orleans. And the reason I say as far as we know is because when he was born, he was kidnapped from the hospital and raised by the Thieves Guild. And it has never been revealed who his actual parents were. Even to this day. So, what is it? 30 plus years later, they've still never said who his actual parents are. Just that he was raised by the Thieves Guild because he was born with the red eyes, and it was kind of a prophecy thing for them.
Now, is he from New Orleans or New Orleans?
It's New Orleans.
New Orleans.
It's New Orleans.
So as Gambit got older and started doing stuff with the Thieves Guild, they were hired by Mr. Sinister to steal back his diaries that were taken by the Weapon X project, and Gambit was the one that was assigned the mission. When he is up, in the frozen wastelands where the Weapon X project was running, he commented about how he didn't like the cold. He was going to have to steal himself a nice new trench coat, which he did to become part of his signature look. He also saw Wolverine escape from there too, but he didn't trust Essex. So instead of giving him the diaries, he burned them. And later on, to try and reconcile this rift that was between the Thieves and Assassins Guild, he agreed to marry the granddaughter of the head of the Assassins Guild, Belladonna Bordeaux. But after the wedding, like literally in the church, after they said their I do's and the I pronounce you man and wife, Belladonna's brother, I'm your brother Julian.
Brother Julian.
Her brother Julian challenged Gambit to a fight because he didn't think that he was good enough to be part of it. Challenged him to a duel to the death. Gambit won and killed him, but because of it, he was exiled. So he traveled the world and he gained a reputation as a master thief. And then coming right back in the picture was Mr. Sinister, because Gambit was having a hard time controlling his powers.
We just lost Sal.
And he oh, Gambit stole him. Oh, there we go.
Anyways, go on.
And he was afraid because he couldn't control his powers. So he went to Mr. Sinister for help. And the way he helped him was he removed the portion of his brainstem that lessened his powers. So he wasn't as powerful, but he was able to control him again. And so for payment, he had to do a few jobs for Mr. Sinister. One of those was he had to go out and find and recruit all of the members of the Marauders, and then he had to lead them into the Morlock tunnels. But Mr. Sinister didn't tell him why he was leading them there. He just told him he had to. So once he saw what they were doing, he tried to stop them, but he ended up being severely injured by Sabretooth, and they just kind of left him to die. And he escaped, but he was only able to save one child from the Morlock Massacre. Do any of you remember who that child was that he saved?
I'm going to say Leech.
Hulk 180.
If he says Leech, I'm going to say Artie.
It was neither of those. It was a girl named Sarah who came back later on as the character.
Sarah Connor?
Who came back later as the character Marrow.
Oh,
okay.
He then returned to traveling around the world, and eventually he, in his second appearance in Uncanny X-Men 266, he encountered a DH Storm, and he helped her in a fight that she was having with the Shadow King, and then with some others. And he followed, they went around thieving together. And when she rejoined the X-Men, he went with her, and then he became one of the X-Men.
Nice.
As far as his powers, he is pretty powerful. So when you see him charge up the cards, he is converting the potential energy of an object to kinetic energy, which charges it and makes it explode. The bigger the object, the bigger the explosion, but also the bigger the object, the longer it takes him to charge it, which is why he generally sticks to small objects like the playing cards.
That he can launch with deadly accuracy, by the way.
Yes. He can also accelerate an object's kinetic energy, and you see him when he frequently does that with his bow staff, where he charges it up, for fighting, but the bow staff doesn't explode, or like he did in X-Men 97's first episode with Wolverine's claws.
Yep.
Which was awesome.
I have a sports picker. The Vikings have a new quarterback named J.J. McCarthy.
J.J. McCarthy, I just saw.
Yeah. All right.
Where is I? Yeah. So, and then since his body is constantly generating this biokinetic energy, it gives him enhanced strength, speed, reflexes, agility, flexibility, dexterity, coordination, balance, endurance, which you can see in all of the crazy fighting that he does. He's skilled in multiple forms of fighting techniques, including this French martial art called savate. And he can also, the buildup of energy also shields his mind from telepaths, and he possesses a strong hypnotic charm, which he can use to subtly influence people.
Nice.
So he gets all the chicks.
That's what he does.
So he's not just a smooth talker.
No, he's using his little bit of power too. So he's got a little double whammy. He's putting on all.
And also, based on what we saw in X-Men 97, he also is good at making pastries.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Right. Is that what we're calling it now?
Pastry. Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
If you watch the episode, Gary, you would understand.
Gary doesn't have it. So there was one of the episodes, it was like the second or third episode. A lot of the team is like
first.
Was it the first one?
Yeah, because he was cooking.
Yeah, a lot of them were fighting, and then they get back to the mansion, and Cyclops is like, what are you doing? And he's just in the kitchen with like a t-shirt and in this apron. He's like, what are you doing? We're out there fighting. We could have used you. He's like, oh, I knew you all had that handle. I'm just here making beignets.
Well, you said he was in a t-shirt and an apron. Was he wearing pants?
Shorts.
I think
Cut off
was
jean
he in an
shorts.
apron? He might not have been an apron, but basically the whole team's out fighting and he's just chilling at the mansion making beignets.
Yeah.
He's like, you all had that handled. You didn't need me.
Got that coverage.
Were they cream filled?
Only the ones for Rogue.
Oh, well, if it would be easier to make those if he wasn't wearing pants. Just saying.
Okay, all right.
We're getting spicy, ladies
We're
and
getting
gentlemen.
spicy gumbo tonight.
Oh.
And then I
All right,
posted
folks.
something on the Comic Character of the Day page about that, and someone was like, what are beignets? And I posted a picture of them. I was like, they're delicious. You need to try them.
Zombie
that's right.
Cat has
Cat.
joined us.
Oh.
It was a rocker.
We say zombie
crop
cat.
Yeah,
top.
that's right.
Yep.
It was
So
a rocker
crop top.
My
Yeah.
lovely wife has had
Show the abs.
beignets at Cafe de Monde in New Orleans. So she's had
Nice.
she's gone to the place to have them. Yeah.
All right.
We
All
had
right,
them
so
in St. Martin in the capital, Marigot. So we had, which is French, French half of St. Martin. So I've done all right with my beignets.
There you go. There you go. All right, folks, before we move on to the next segment, we're going to shout out to memberships and super chats. They're now available on YouTube for prices like $3.99 a month. You could actually be a member, get some exclusive content first, and some really cool emojis and much, much more. So
Yeah.
help the Codex Station out. Be a member. There's no ongoing commitment. You could do it month to month and check out all our new stuff early.
Price
Yeah,
of
do it now.
You can find out how wrong Sal is that he thinks the Beast should be an X-Man.
That is exactly right.
You can find out how wrong he is.
If you scroll up in the chat just a hair, guys, you can see one of the emojis that Wes put up. And
There you
it's
go.
a beautiful one.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
And just for the record, folks, I won that top 10 hands down. No questions asked.
I
Now,
don't
moving
know.
on to the next section.
Oh man, that was quick. Boy, you just buried the lead.
No, folks, if you do join and get a membership, you can check out Gary and I. We do a top 10 reasons why Beast was an Avenger and top 10 reasons why Beast was an X-Man.
And it's a lot of fun. It's a lot
of fun. And it's a lot of fun. And you guys can decide on your own who actually won. Anyhow, we're going to start off with what scenarios work best for Gambit. And Uncle Gary, why don't you go ahead and kick us off on that?
I think what scenarios work best for him is when he's involved in some shady dealings, because he's a shady character. When he's on the edge of is he right, is he wrong, and he's got the mystery in his background, and he is the quintessential ladies' man. He is him, Nightwing, and Daredevil are probably at the top of the list for racking up the most kills. It's a little known fact, but this staff of his, it's got a lot of notches in it. So
Wouldn't that
rumor,
be a-
folks. That's just rumor.
Wouldn't that be a good team up? Nightwing, Gambit, and Daredevil. That would be amazing.
Nightwing, Gambit, and Daredevil, just lady killers. That would be the name of the show. There you go.
Well, not Daredevil so much right now. I think he'd be kind of a downer with the other two.
Well, he's a father. But listen, before he went to be a priest, he was banging a married chick.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, damn, Matt. Keep it in your pants, buddy.
All right.
Maybe
Is that
Hawkeye could hang out with him.
Yeah, Hawkeye could be in that club. Well, anyway,
Mhm.
that's when I think he works best. I like him as a part of a team, but I like where he can break off from the team and kind of do his own thing. And the team, I like it when the team's just not quite sure what side of the street he's playing on.
Yeah.
And I like him as the second half in one of the great comic love stories that there is with Rogue.
Yep. Absolutely. All right, Tim, why don't you go next with this?
Oh, yeah, Gary, I'm going to parrot some of that. Gambit works best with his irresistible charm, his carefree attitude. Like when the chips are down, when the wall's crumbling, when the sky is falling, and everybody is running for cover, Gambit is the one that keeps the morale going, right? And he's got that carefree attitude. In X-Men 97, he's got it right up until the end, and it never fails, it never falters, and it works. He is a great team player when he wants to be, but when he needs to go on his own, he has no qualms about letting them know that that's what he's going to do. And another thing is that he is definitely not afraid to speak his mind, and he's honest. Well, I mean, at least when it comes with the people he cares about.
Honest, it's kind of questionable.
when it comes with the people he cares about, he is incredibly honest.
From a certain point of view, he's honest. Right. Okay.
Let me rephrase that.
All right. So I'll go next here, and I'm going to pretty much echo a lot of this, but I'm going to add on a couple of things. He works best like as a devilish sinner type of guy. You know,
I agree. I like that.
You know, yeah, and he's a wild card. You never know what's going to come up. You know, what he's going to charge or where he's going to pop into the situation. He does act like he's playing both sides of the equation, but then ends up, you know, on the side of the X-Men all the time. And I like it when he's actually just paired up with just Rogue. I mean, I think that's the perfect, you know, pairing for him. He's not really too much of a team player. Hi, Pup. Come on in. I know you wanted to come in. You wanted to hear this.
Yep.
There we go. So
we're spitting some truths here. Come on now.
I know. So, yeah, when he's paired up with Rogue, I feel like just with her or maybe just one other person like him and one other person works best for him. I think if he starts to go into the big team, then you kind of lose him in the background because he's off doing his thing, which is also cool, but you lose a lot of Gambit perspective.
That's why he's better on the shadow teams.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep. All right, Dan, how about you?
Yeah, I like it. I wouldn't say devilish sinner. I'd say more something almost like a devilish angel, because he will always end up doing what's right, but he'll do it with that little kind of smirk that makes you wonder right up until the end if he's going to or not.
Instead of walking into heaven, he'll be the one skidding into heaven with his pants on fire.
Or the side door.
If he's wearing pants.
But yeah, I like when they show that he uses his skills as a master thief, because they don't always do that a lot. But yeah, he's got all the crazy acrobatic fight moves. He's got the mutant powers. You know, he is a sweet talker with the ladies, but he's a master thief. You know, he is able to get into these places that most people are not able to. So I like when they use that aspect of him. Of course, his relationship with Rogue, like Gary said, that's one of the best romances in comics. They're actually married, so you know, we'll see how long Marvel lets that actually stay around until they decide to muck it up like they do with, you know, just about every other, you know,
Spider-Man.
Yeah. But
all hell Zeb Wells.
But you know, but they haven't always had a great relationship. You know, it's been rocky, it's been on and off, and you know, they finally, you know, they couldn't touch each other for the longest time, and you know, they're finally together and they're happy, and you know, it's great, and I hope it keeps it that way for them. But yeah, and plus, you know, when Gambit was created, like, he was just the epitome of cool.
Yeah.
And 30 years later, he kind of still is.
I mean, I'm looking at his first appearance right now, and I think it's pretty cool.
Oh, what is that?
You're looking at. Oh, I see. That's a really great second appearance you have.
Yeah, awesome first appearance.
All right, let's go ahead and move on to our 3 badass moments. And Tim, I'll let you kick us off with badass moments.
So I wrote them down.
Oh,
yeah. All right. So first and foremost, let's go ahead and do this one first. Dating Rogue, right? That was badass on its own. The woman that could not be touched. Gambit did not see that as an obstacle. He saw that as a challenge. And by God, he did not let up. He wasn't a jerk. He wasn't a dick to her. He did what he did, and she was swooed and wooed and all that stuff, and eventually we have what we have now in their marriage. And it's what everybody wanted, and it took so long for it to happen, and the journey all the way through that was absolutely fantastic. It holds its weight in comic books when you guys say that it is one of the greatest romances in comic book history. Yep. Hands down, top 3, right? Pick which spot you want it to go in. That's where it is. Number 2, Avengers vs. X-Men, the side series, AVX versus issue number 2, when he fights Captain America and charges his suit.
The chainmail.
Yeah, so Gambit can't charge organic material, right? Otherwise, he could just touch you and he'd have bombs running all over the place. But when Cap and Gambit are duking it out, Cap thinks this is going to be a one-punch fight, right? He's going to be done, and it's going to be over. And he even gets Gambit kind of cornered down on the ground, and he's holding him down there, and he's like, Gambit, come on, man. You know you can't beat me. I'm stronger than you. I'm faster than you. I'm smarter than you. Tactician, right? Captain America. He's got it all figured out. Well, Gambit, ever the sly, devilish angel, is charging one of those cards. Oh, yeah, he's like, of course I can't charge organic matter, but I can do this. And he charges that card, which in turn goes into Cap's armor, turns him into a bomb, right? Pushes him off, blasts him away. Cap gets pissed off. Yeah, it's one punch after that. But the point of fact is Captain America wasn't 100% into that fight. He was probably about 30. But after Gambit blew the snot out of him, Cap's like, okay, you got my attention now.
Yeah.
That was just amazing.
After that, he was 110% into that fight.
You better believe it. Yeah.
Well, I believe he got his attention.
Yes, absolutely. And last but not least, and I know we're going to talk about this throughout the episode, it needs to be said, episode 5 of X-Men 97. Oh, yeah. Remember it. If you haven't seen that, ladies and gentlemen, that is the most badass moment in Gambit's history, bar none, hands down. And it is so good. I won't drop the F-bomb because I'm going to save it. But it's amazing. It's wonderful.
He's got something planned for it.
The things that he does in that episode, the rule of cool applies from 20 minutes all the way to the end. And it is absolutely amazing. Yeah. So those are my top 3. That's what I got right there.
I like it.
All right, Gary. Why don't you go next one, Gary?
Okay. Well, let's start off with the first one. Is that I agree with Tim there, and that's his relationship with Rogue. I mean, you got to be pretty bad that you're in a heated love affair with a gal you can't touch, and you sustain it and you maintain it. I mean, that's a badass level of commitment.
And he would even let her know. Go on, try.
It's like,
It's
worth it.
Yeah.
It's worth it.
Yep, it's worth right. It's worth it. That near-death experience is worth it. That killer cocaine, I'll take some of that. Yeah, that's exactly what it was like. But yeah, I think that's pretty badass to be that committed and love someone that much that you can't even touch. That's hardcore there, baby. That is hardcore commitment there. So, but I guess the thing he had going for him was he had a lot of good memories of gals that he could. All right, so my other badass moment is in
here you go, Gary. While you're collecting your thoughts.
Go ahead.
Nope. Sorry, Sal. It's
glasses.
Muscle memory. Keith says they need to just give Gambit a pair of nunchucks and have him learn the bow and arrow from Hawkeye. He'd take out the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants and Hellfire Club by 3 p.m.
Well,
right?
That's true because he just charge him. He shoot charged arrows.
A pretty good idea.
Yeah, he'd shoot charged arrows at people. That's excellent. Ooh. All right. My other badass moment was in Uncanny X-Men 273. He and Wolverine had a Danger Room session, that got heated, got out of hand.
Yeah.
And he beats Wolverine. He gets Wolverine incapacitated and
has him down by the staff.
Yeah, and he talks shit to him. He says, "Bang, you dead."
Yep.
That's great.
I forgot about that one. That's a good one.
Yeah,
but it was how he did it too, because it wasn't a straight up fight because Wolverine was injured and then he put the Lady Deathstrike in to distract him. Like, so he's using some intelligence there too.
Yep. Oh, absolutely.
Psychological warfare.
Absolutely. Yeah. But the best part was the shit talking. Bang, you dead.
No.
So, that was great. So, and again, on the same lines with some shit talking, he's fighting Gladiator. And he had a good idea how you beat Gladiator. You mess with his confidence because he saw a Cannonball do it. In issues earlier than this. I want to say it was X-Men like 243 or something where Cannonball did it. But anyway, he's fighting Gladiator, and he gives him the whole deck of cards. Not just one. He shoots the whole deck right in his gut. I mean, Gladiator's like, "What can you do?" Or, "Do you think a card will stop me?" And he's basically like, "How about the whole deck?"
Oh my God!
The whole deck in his gut and blows Gladiator up.
That's great.
That's awesome.
So that's my 3.
All right, Dan, I'll let you go next, and I'll wrap it up.
Yeah, I had the whole deck as one of mine too, and that was a only like a year after he first appeared too, and it's showing like, all right, this guy is Gladiator was well established by that point, so that was showing his formability. I don't think it was the real Gladiator, right? Though, wasn't it a Super Skrull? Because that was the issue where like the Skrulls were taking the place of a bunch of X-Men and other characters.
And to be honest with you, I'm not sure. If you remember it that way, then I'm sure it was. But if the Skrull was taking his place, those Skrulls
still had the Skrulls had the powers. Yeah,
have the power. Yeah.
But that if you haven't seen it, look it up, because that panel is so badass where he just flips the whole deck right into his gut. That was awesome.
Yeah, and devastating.
Yeah. And then like Tim said too, I was going to say issue 5, episode 5 of X-Men 97. If you don't want to hear the spoilers, earmuffs.
Right.
It was him having the heart-to-heart with Rogue, and him just saying, him not storming off or saying F you or anything. He goes, "Okay, we'll just be friends for now." I was like, okay, that's mature. Okay, that, and then when the whole fight starts, and Magneto tells him like, go, we're not gonna let anyone die. Like, you go save the Morlocks, and the Morlocks are down there saying like the X-Men don't care about us, and then he shows up and saves them. He's like, temporarily at least. It's like, all right, come on. And like, that was, for anyone that knew the comics, that was a great redemptive moment for him. Yeah. With what he was involved with in the comics.
I'm getting goosebumps just remembering the episode. It's that good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there was that, and then it was Rogue trying to go to Magneto when he's getting like super blasted by the Sentinel, and Gambit's like, "No,
he's trying to save you, Sharon."
Yeah, and then he starts, Magneto starts putting all the metal around him to hold him up, and that's what Gambit says, like, he's trying to save us. But then even after what looks like they all died, and then Rogue's going and flying up toward the Sentinel, and the blast comes down. Gambit charges the bike and hits her with it to knock her out of the way so that it doesn't happen to her. Yeah. And then he gets stabbed by the Sentinel, and he charges the whole Sentinel up. He's like, "The name's Gambit. Remember it." And then
that was pretty awesome.
It's so good.
But I did have some others, since those were all covered anyways. But Gambit issue 24, when he beats New Sun. So if you guys are familiar or not familiar, the character New Sun had been introduced a while earlier, but it was revealed that it was a Gambit from an alternate universe who never had his powers dampened by Mr. Sinister. So he was able to achieve his full level of power, which in his world, he killed Phoenix, which pissed off the other X-Men, so he left to go do his own thing, and was kind of a traveling hero, sometimes on the good guy side, sometimes on the bad guy side. And basically he could turn his whole body into energy. He could time travel. He could shift between dimensions. He ended up destroying his entire world himself, and came into the 616 universe, and it was fighting the Gambit that we know, and criticizing him for saying like, I didn't dampen my powers and all this. Well, Gambit still finds a way to beat him when he's in the energy form. Gambit grabs him and charges him up to explode. And he's like, I can't survive this, and blows him up, to beat him.
How did he do organic matter?
Well, he wasn't organic at that point. He was in like an energy form.
Oh, okay, got you.
Using the old noodle.
Well, he also before that too had Sinister like reverse the surgery so that he could access his full amount of powers again at that point.
Wow.
As Gary likes to do a lot of times too with like the subtler ones. I guess this isn't
little ones,
but I mentioned it in the origin that during the Mutant Massacre, when he realized what was going on, he tried to stop him. He got literally Sabretooth gutted him. And on the way out, he still managed to save the one kid, Sarah, who grew up to be Marrow. So even with all that going on, like he could have just run, but he still tried to step up and then was still managed to save, at least one child. But then my favorite was probably X-Men 272 during the Extinction Agenda. There's a point where
is that when they were all wearing the yellow and blue suits?
This was right before that.
Okay.
Because right after that, that's when they had the Shi'ar thing where they were all wearing that. So he knocks Cable out of the way when Cameron Hodge is getting ready to shoot him, and he takes this big spike through the leg. And then Hodge captures him and, the New Mutants and the X-Factor and X-Men that are all there. And they have them chained up where they're kind of like held up by their arms and just left hanging. But knowing that Hodge was a sadist and would leave the spike in his leg, he got shot with it intentionally. So after they're all there, Cyclops, who was just met him, said like, "All right, Gambit, go ahead." And someone goes, "What?" And he's like, "I know you took that spike intentionally." He's like, "All right." He's like, "Yeah, you figured it out." So he lifts while they're all chained up. He lifts his leg up, pulls the spike out of it with his mouth, drops it, grabs it with his feet, lifts his feet up to pick the lock, frees himself, and then after he does it, he's like, "Yeah, beat that, Stormy," and then goes and like frees everyone else that's locked up so they can escape and go on with the fight. And it's like, man, that's just.
Wow.
So badass. That's so cool.
That's some Harry Houdini shit there, but
right.
Yeah.
And Cyclops knew it. Yeah, go ahead, man. Go ahead. I know it.
Yeah, because he said he's like Psylocke's doing the thing that she was gonna do. She kind of she kind of gave me this idea and or something where he knew she was gonna do something. He's like, she should be done. You do your thing now. And then it was like in the span of a couple panels, it's like, wow. That is badass.
That is badass. I love that. All right. So for my three, I also had the whole deck from X-Men 277 because that was just a pretty badass moment. So I won't touch on that. Instead, I'll interchange that one since Tim interjected the animated series. I'm going to go back to the original animated series where they were doing the whole assassinate the president type of thing. And Gambit, they think he's a traitor and he's running off on his own. And he, confronts Mystique, who is in the shape of Gambit at the time, to kill the president. And he's like, he bursts in the room, and he goes, "Surprised to see me? I know I am." That was pretty funny. On another funny note, I got X-Men number 8, where they're at the X-Mention, and Rogue took the cake or the pie to the face.
Like, the boysenberry pie.
The boy, yep, and it was him and Bishop next to each other, just laughing their asses off, and she's ready to kill somebody, and he leans from the Bishop. He's like, "Just keep laughing, or she'll kill us." And they're laughing, but then he goes, he leans over, and he's like, "Well, I have it on good authority. I'm gonna outlive you all anyway." And then you see the look on Bishop's face turn to like what? Because at that point he was being led to be. Bishop thought he was the traitor of the X-Men.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
At the end, he goes, "Well, I got on good authority then. I'm going to outlive you all."
Wow.
I thought that was pretty funny. And then for my last one, this is in X-Men 1991, number 41, and this is just as the Xavier was killed in the past, and the Age of Apocalypse is about to start. Him and Rogue kiss at the final moments. And I thought that was a pretty pretty great moment because
That's
it's like,
great.
it's the last thing. What are we going to do? Kiss me, baby.
There you go.
Give me some sugar, that type of thing. So that's, I had to list that. I had to
like it.
They did that in a few of the X books then, where it was like right before, where you saw like the kind of energy wave coming to change it. And it was like right before they changed, there was some big dramatic thing, like the one in Wolverine where he popped the third claw into Sabretooth's head.
Yep.
Keith is exactly right.
Stick around for recommended readings. I think that's going to come up.
Mm-hmm.
Stick around.
Nice.
All right. So let's move on to our next section, which is critiques and criticisms. And I'm going to go ahead and I'll kick this one off because I really don't have that much. I think they try to make him like that he could be a leader, but he's not. He's not a leader, but he could be a leader. And I don't like that. It's either yes, he's a leader, or no, he's not going to be a leader. Not this whole playing the two sides of it.
Yeah.
I think he could be a leader if he had stuck to the straight and narrow, but because of how he always plays both sides of the equation, it just wouldn't work with that. So, and the other thing I don't like, and this is kind of nitpicking, I think they played the accent too much into it, and it's like, I'm not from New Orleans. I don't know what the hell he's meaning. Sometimes like what did he just say? Okay, now I got that. So sometimes I got to reread his monologue, or even the cartoon when he's talking. I'm like, wait a minute. Go back 10 seconds. Okay, all right. Now I know what he was saying. Okay, please continue. So those are really only two criticisms that I really have. He's never changed his costume. He probably should, but he's never changed it.
At least wash it.
If it wasn't the wash, he had that crop top, that sexy crop top going.
There you go.
Well, he has changed it. He has changed it a couple times here and there, but he always goes back to it because. I mean, look at it. It's so badass. There's one of the comics where he even comments to himself when he's like, breaking in some, or just kind of having his inner monologue where he is like, he's like, I'm the only one that's, badass enough that can rock a pink costume.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. All right, Dan, why don't you go ahead next then?
I kind of don't like when they forget that he can do more than just charge objects and throw them. Like, yeah, it's the playing card thing is awesome. It's iconic. It's a great visual, or any other small thing that he, but there's more to, that when it's that and like him just kind of doing athletic stuff. But, he's got the master thief skills. Let's kind of do some stuff with that too. He is, he is smart, as when he beat Wolverine in the Danger Room, like he didn't have to beat him straight up. He was able to trick him. Like he is smart when it comes to some of that stuff. Let's do some stuff with the subterfuge. But one thing that is kind of annoying too is some of the stuff with his backstory that's still unresolved. Is like I said, they've never revealed who his parents are. He was born and he was taken from the hospital by the Thieves Guild because he was born with the red eyes, and it was this prophecy thing that they thought he was part of, but they still never revealed who his real parents actually are. And for a long time it was assumed that he was the third Summers brother because Mr. Sinister had said the third one. And Gambit had this all of this history of Mr. Sinister. His powers are kind of similar a little bit to Havoc and Cyclops, and it was implied that he would be the third Summers brother, and then they just decided, oh no, we're gonna have that be this guy Vulcan. But since they kind of abandoned that, like which would have been a cool idea, but I think after 30 some years it would be interesting to see who his parents are and why there was nothing like, hey, somebody stole our newborn baby out of the hospital. Like, can we have him back?
Can we have him back?
But I think that would be interesting. I think there'd be some, a lot of good story there with that, for who his parents were to, have him be born not just a mutant, but that right off the bat started showing signs of it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, Gary, how about you? What you got?
I echo what you said, Sal. I think I think sometimes they lean on the accent thing a little too much, and it gets a little silly, a little corny, you know, where they just lean into it too heavily. And the other thing is, I think I don't think they play enough with his intelligence, and they show how intelligent he is. I think a lot of times, you know, they maybe they dumb him down just a little bit when he's really pretty crafty and pretty, you know, pretty slick and pretty, you know, that I just don't think they highlight that enough.
Mm-hmm.
So that's it. My only criticisms.
All right, Tim.
As far as the character himself, I really don't see a lot of things that I can critique on him. I think
I have to agree with that.
I think that with the way that he's written, even, you know, Gary, when he's written kind of dumbed down, maybe subtly that's them being like, well, Gambit wants you to think that he's not that smart right now.
He's playing a role, right?
And Gambit, above all else, is center stage man, and he knows full well how to work an audience and even pull back a little bit when the room is read in such a way. The only
it's kind of like you, Tim.
Maybe a little bit, except he likes spicy food and I do not. But the one thing from a creative perspective that I disagree with is I think that he gets lost in the shuffle a lot. Like, there's so many X characters to choose from, and Gambit, without a doubt, is one of the coolest. And I hardly ever see him on teams anymore. Or if I do, he's there for a little bit and then he's gone, and then I don't see him for a while. Same thing with Colossus. I think a staple of any X-Men team should be Gambit and Colossus. There's heart and soul right there, and those are two characters that you need, Gambit especially. And I don't think they utilize him near enough. He should be a main supporting character. I don't think he should be a main character unless you give him his own series. And if you give him his own series, let him do like what Dan said and do all that damn subterfuge and all that sneaking around and all that thieving and all that stuff. And just let it happen, and people would love it. That's my take.
Okay.
I buy that.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go ahead and move on to top covers and see some awesome covers. Who wants to go first for awesome covers?
I will. Oh, no, Dan raised his hand.
Dan raised his hand first, so it's Dan.
All right.
Let me go around the horn.
Let me find his stuff here.
There you go.
All right, so we'll start all the way on the left. 277. As soon as we said, all right, we're going to do a Gambit episode, that was the cover that immediately jumped into my mind. He's not in his, you know, his normal costume. It's him and Wolvie in the blue and yellow costumes, but that's just such an awesome...
That's what I was talking about right there, the blue and yellow.
Yeah, it's just such an awesome Jim Lee cover. The fight between them. You know, he's got the sword, he's got the spear, Wolverine's got the claws, it's got like the Kirby crackle in the background, you know...
But he's still got his trench coat, though.
Yeah, he still got the trench coat. Yeah, because while all of them were wearing the costumes, he was like, "I'm still gonna rock the trench coat."
You better believe it.
Yeah, they all had the like the thigh bands that didn't really make any sense. They were just kind of there.
Yeah,
because of the '90s.
Right, in Jim Lee style.
The middle one, X-Men 24, like. I mean, I had to have a Gambit and Rogue cover there, and this is, of all the Gambit and Rogue covers, this one is my favorite.
It's the Gambit and Roguiest.
Yeah, you know, I mean, that's just a fantastic Kubert cover. And then all the way on the end, Uncanny X-Men 350, when they did the Trial of Gambit, that's just such a cool cover where his eyes glowing and he's holding up the cards and he's got the cards charged and all that.
Oh, here's a question. Here's a question for you, Dan. Keith says, has he ever charged up and thrown Mardi Gras beads?
I've never read a comic where he's done that, but that would be pretty cool until the girl puts them on and her head explodes. That wouldn't be so cool.
Or maybe it just blows the shirt off. I don't know.
Wow.
There you go. Now we're talking.
You know what? Now he could do that with She-Hulk, and you know that could be fun.
Wow.
All right. Good stuff. Good stuff. Gary, why don't you go ahead and show us your covers?
Let me find him. There he is.
All right.
There he
Let's
is.
see what covers I got. All right.
Ooh.
So I think we all have to have a Gambit and Rogue cover. So the one I picked was the one with X-Men Legacy. It's, you know, the number 224, and that was the Lee Bermejo cover. So I just like the passion in it. I like the fact that he's got the two aces going and he's glowing, and I love that a lot.
That art style is so gorgeous.
Oh yeah, Bermejo's the one that's been killing it with those Superman covers lately.
Oh, nice.
Yep. And that great Zorro cover you like so much.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. The middle cover is Gambit 6 by Greg Land. I'm a sucker for a cover in a cemetery. So you got a cemetery, you got a full moon, and you know we see the cards so much, but maybe one of the criticisms is we don't focus enough on how good he is with that staff.
Yeah.
You know that he is very, very proficient with that weapon. So I just love that that's highlighting the staff and not the cards. And again, he's in a cemetery, full moon up.
That's a great Land cover.
Yep, you do.
That is.
And then the last one is the Land again, and that's Gambit 2, Gambit 6 rather. The cemetery is 2. You know, you got Gambit, you got a motorcycle, he's jumping and he's throwing two cards at you. That are supercharged, and he's got an explosion in the background. I don't know how you get better than that action. So
that's great.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So there you go. So two of them are Lands. I also really like that Kubrick cover with Rogue, and there were a couple other really good Rogue ones. And I think y'all will highlight the others, but I didn't think the Bermejo one would get highlighted, so I really wanted to give that some love. Yep. So
Definitely.
That's a gorgeous cover.
The bike one's really out of the cartoon there too.
Yep. Sure is.
You know.
Yeah.
Well, I was also one of the ones that was in my final four was the cover to X-Men Origins Gambit, but Sal showed me that he was using that for the title card. I was like, all right, so that's still in there. So
and the middle one in the cemetery, I didn't think anybody would have that at all. So I really want to show that one. Yeah,
that's a good one.
Yeah. So those are mine. I'm happy with them.
They're awesome. They're awesome. All right, Tim, let's see yours.
All right. So yeah, like Dan, let's go ahead and go with that first one. X-Men, what is it, 24? Excuse me. That's a beautiful cover. I love that cover. Has he ever charged a shrimp po' boy? Oh, that's a good question.
Well,
Sal, you'll have to do.
Would be organic, so I don't know that he could do that part.
Right? Maybe the cup.
Yeah.
But yeah, that Kubert cover, that is a classic cover. I love it. The X-Men Origins right there. That was the title card. You can't go wrong with it. And right there at the end, his first appearance, Uncanny X-Men.
I knew that was coming.
First appearance, second appearance? What?
It's a beautiful cover. I mean, the colors on that pop. And there's a reason why Gambit can rock a pink and purple outfit. Look at that, man. He looks amazing.
But it's funny how the pants are drawn in that, because that's not how they are in the comic.
No, not at all.
Like, I don't think he's ever had pants like that outside of that cover drawing.
No, but yeah, those three covers, 1, 2, and 3 right there. Beautiful classic covers.
I like it.
Awesome. All right, let's bring up mine.
All right.
So, like, of course, everybody, they gotta have a Rogue and Gambit cover.
Yeah.
So this one, the cover artist is on number 6 there on the far left.
No, Keith, but he has done that to Benoit balls. What about anal beads?
Oh God!
Wow! Talk about busting your ass.
Come on, guys. This is not the Power Girl episode, all right?
And that's how Gambit became a Brown Ranger.
There you go.
Or a Brown Lantern.
Brown Lantern.
There you go.
Wow.
Good job, Chris. Way to throw that in the chat, buddy.
Anyhow, cover 6, Gambit number 6, covered by Ivan Tao. That's it. I just love the way they're coming in. I like the stark yellow background. You got a little bit of buildings in the background there, but it's just a pretty bad cover there. And of course, Gambit Volume 1, number 1. This is the B variant, which is the gold cover.
Yep.
which I do own, by the way. This is a nice
I know
one to
somebody else that owns that too.
have.
Yeah,
Covered by
West
Lee
Coast,
Weeks,
Oh,
and it is just a badass cover with him jumping down. It's just wicked.
oh,
And
yeah.
of course, there we go. We got Gambit and Externals #1
Yep.
way over there, and this is by Tony Daniel. I love this
so
series,
good.
by the way. This was a great mini with the Age of Apocalypse, but this was just a badass cover. You know, he's not in his traditional costume, but he's got a nice red cloak cape to there. So
Who do we got on that team? We got Strong Guy, Gambit, Jubilee, and who are the other two?
Sunfire is the bottom, and I forget who the
Lila Cheney.
Oh, okay.
Lila Cheney. That's right.
Yeah, and her and Gambit were, I believe they were a couple in this.
Oh,
They were.
Yeah.
Well, another
So
notch
that's
on
my-
that staff.
there you go.
Notch on that staff, baby. All right, so there's my 3 covers.
All right.
All right, Tim. And Tim, we can take down the. There we go.
I got
We're
it.
back.
I got it. I'm getting it.
We're back, ladies and gentlemen.
Jared,
We're back. We have the combination.
Back, relax.
Kicking back and relaxing.
Ladies and gentlemen, what happens when the stuff's on screen? Don't worry about
This
that.
is Tim in
Unlike
the background while
Gambit.
it's on there.
Unlike Gambit, I am wearing pants.
Oh, God. Thank you. Thank you for that.
Get it in while you
And
can.
thank
That's
you,
right.
Bougie. Yep, that is a
The
pretty cool one. The
Externals,
Externals is pretty cool. Yep, definitely.
And we got
keep-
that
keep-
comment.
yep.
Yeah. I'll bet everyone in the Thieves Guild gets really paranoid every 6 months when they have to pay dues. Oh my God.
Yes, indeed. Yes,
Yep.
indeed. All right, so now we're going to take a little break and jump over to sponsors. And Tim, why don't you kick us off with our first sponsor, and then Uncle Gary with our second sponsor.
All right, guys, I'm going to take full screen here for just a moment. Ladies and gentlemen, those of you in the chat, if you haven't yet, now is the opportunity. We are down to the wire, the last 10 minutes, the last play of the game. This is the Nirvana exclusive for Feral #1, ladies and gentlemen, and you have an opportunity to win this. Real simple, real easy. All you got to do, I'm going to give you the instructions right now, just like flipping cards. So if you're watching us right now, either live or pre-recorded, go ahead and hit that subscribe button right here on the Codex station if you haven't done that already. That's the easiest part that you can do. I'll wait. Go ahead. Take your time. Okay. Plenty of time right there. Subscribe. Done. #2. All you got to do is if you're in the chat right now, or if you're watching this later, ladies and gentlemen, type in the comments, #giveaway. If you haven't done it already, #giveaway. If you have done it, you are already entered in to win. And the last day to do this will be this Saturday for Comics Unleashed. So I believe that's April 24th. That's the last Saturday that you can enter in to win this.
April 24th was yesterday.
Or, well, the last Saturday of April. That's it right there.
That would be April 27th, folks.
Yeah,
April
there you
27th.
go. Yeah,
all right,
so
calendar man.
Exactly. That's why he's in Gotham City and I'm not. Ladies and gentlemen, you need this book in your lives. This is free to you. We will send it right to you. All you got to do is like the Codex station right now here on YouTube, #giveaway. And also, please, 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 we could not do this if it wasn't for Nirvana Comics. Ladies and gentlemen, they are my exclusive comic book store right there in Knoxville, Tennessee, and they are blowing up the scene, guys. They got all kinds of cool stuff, and we'll be seeing some more of that for free comic book day too. And they always give us these exclusive covers to give away to you. They want you to be happy. We want you to be happy. They've got a book for everybody, and right here it is. So go on Facebook, like Nirvana Comics as well, ladies and gentlemen.
Absolutely.
All
And
right.
for our next sponsor, Uncle Gary, take it away.
Do I know who the sponsor is?
I think so.
Oh,
Do it.
Gambit.
That'll be Comic Logic, baby.
Bougie,
Comic
I
Logic.
got you right there, buddy.
We're Loudoun County, Virginia's only comic book store. I'm one of the proud co-owners. So if you are in the Northern Virginia area, we would love to have you come over, come visit us, come see the shop. And if you live in this area permanently, we would love to have you for a subscriber. So please come see us. We have 2 great big events I want to tell you about. We have our Free Comic Book Day on May the 4th, and it's Free Comic Book Day, and it's also Star Wars Day. So those two great things intersect, and to have a special treat for that, our special treat is we will have Mr. Brendan Wayne there, who is the actor that plays the Mandalorian when the helmet is on. That's Mr. Brendan Wayne. He will be at our shop signing autographs. And for me personally, I can't wait to meet him because Mr. Brendan Wayne is John Wayne's grandson. And John Wayne is my guy. I grew up on John Wayne movies, and I love them. And that's my happy place when I'm sitting here watching a John Wayne movie. So a lot of people can get Mandalorian stuff signed. I'm getting one of my John Wayne books signed by his grandson. So that thrills me to no end. So please, if you're in the area, thank you, Snoop. Thank you, Chris. I love you, brother. Appreciate that testimonial. Also, we have our Spring Lot Con coming up. That is on Sunday, May 19th. We have about 30 vendors, and we turn our parking lot into a mini Comic-Con. Dan and Sal were there with their families for our Fall Lot Con. We do it twice a year, spring and fall, and they had a really good time. We have these vendors. We have comic vendors. We have local artists, local authors. We have toys. We have jewelry. So we have a whole lot of fun stuff. It's very family friendly. So please come say hi to us. And you know what? Who knows? You'll see all the Comic Logic people there, but you might even see some CODEX people. You'll see at least one because I'll be there. But you may see a special treat with Dan and Sal might show up and be on the premises. And so there you go. Two great things coming together again, Comic Logic and the CODEX station intersecting, baby, making an X. Come see us. We'd love to have you.
Right on.
Awesome. All right, so that moves us on to, excuse me, our essential readings for this character.
I was going to say real quick too, if you see us at one of us at Free Comic Book Day or LotCon there, feel free to come up and buy a comic for us.
Yes.
Wasn't Jamie offering some type of deal too, where if you got your picture taken with us, you get a free
comic
or something like that?
Yeah. If you get your picture taken with one of us there, then Jamie will send you a grab bag.
Am I supposed to lift somebody up too? Wasn't that part of the deal?
If you're like bench, you can bench press Dan.
Oh yeah, I said that if you lift them up, like because comics make you strong, that they would get too.
Wow. Let me tell you something. I'm strong. Dan's a big fella. I don't think I'm bench pressing Dan. And you know what? Dan's got a lot of muscle there too. That's muscle weighs more than flat.
Strong like a bull.
He's pretty muscular. And the other thing about lifting Dan like that, he's wiggly.
Oh my God.
He's squirmy. He's not going to sit still for that. He's going to be wiggling all over the place.
He's a wiggler, ladies and gentlemen.
Slippery when wet.
Whoa! Oh, there we go.
He's a Kobe fan too. See what he did there?
All right, folks. Let's jump to our essential reading scare. Dan, why don't you kick us off with that?
All right, there we go.
All right. Well, I'm going to start off. We saw the cover a couple times already for X-Men Origins Gambit. This explores his, just like it says, it explores his origin, explores his past when he was a kid, then a teenager coming up in the Thieves Guild, shows his marriage to Belladonna, what happened after he got exiled. It shows him his dealings with Sinister, with the Marauders, and the Mutant Massacre, and all that. Shows everything right up until he met up with Storm. The next one I got is Gambit issue 1 through 4. It was his first miniseries, his first solo series. It was a 4-issue miniseries that was, another thing that kind of dealt in about his past, not as far back as that, but he had to go back to New Orleans because there was stuff going down with the Assassins Guild, and there was stuff going down with the Thieves Guild, and Belladonna, his wife, who everyone thought was dead, turned out she was still alive, and a lot of family stuff they had to deal with. So that was a really cool book. It was written by I think it's Howard Mackey that wrote it, and Lee Weeks had some.
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah, had some really fantastic artwork in it. And again, that was a cover we saw too. Sal had the gold cover he showed for it. This was the first time you got to see Gambit on his own, even though the X-Men do show up in it a lot. That was a really cool one. Then I got the storyline Gambit and Rogue Forever, which ran in the book Mr. and Mrs. X, issue 7 through 10. It was them on Mojo World, and Mojo putting him in all these different situations, trying to get a new hit show. And of course, he keeps changing everything with them, and they don't really know what's going on. But it dealt with it showed a lot of different things from the past for them, from the relationships, and a new light from, depending on if Mojo was putting them in like an action adventure show or a romantic comedy or whatever it was. But, it's got the comedy stuff that you get from whenever you have Mojo as a main antagonist. But it was a good thing, a good story showing what was going on with the both of them, and showed a lot of their history together too. So it was just a really fun storyline.
Mojo is a mofo. I'm just saying.
All right, Gary, what about your stores? Yeah, it was good choices, Dan. Definitely.
Thanks.
See yours, Gary.
All right. So my choices, I'm going to start off with the heartbreaking one. Uncanny X-Men 350 Volume 1, where we find out what his role in the Mutant Massacre was. And it was just heartbreaking. Gambit carries a lot of guilt with that. And I think at this point they had hinted that there's something in his past that really haunted him, and that was it. So you found
that was a big part of like his whole story up until that point.
Oh, absolutely. And then even though he did it unwittingly, he's still the one that led them, the Marauders, to those tunnels where the Morlocks got slaughtered. And like I know, was it Dan's badass moment where he said, or was it Sal's, where even though he was injured badly, where Sabretooth gutted him, he still rescued Sarah.
That's Dan's. Yeah, it was Dan's. That was good.
So that was a good call back for Dan on that. But still, he, all those other massacres, he carries the weight of that because he's the one that led them in there. So, that's part of who he is. Part of the darkness that's in him is that guilt that he carries because of that. So, that's essential. There's a miniseries that I thought was a lot of fun. The Gambit Wolverine Victims series. That was just a blast. Two of the greatest X-Men together. Hilarity ensues. So I just, I just recommend it. It's just a lot of fun, And let's talk about the creative team on that. Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale. So,
man,
you don't get much better than that.
I didn't know they did that.
Yes.
Ooh.
Yes, Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale were the creative team on that. So, like you had me at Hello, well, you had me at Loeb and Sale. So,
right
there you go.
Nice.
So, and then the last one I have is the Gambit volume. What was that? Was that volume 4?
Yeah.
1 through 12. The series lasted 12 issues.
14.
And
14 up on the screen.
Okay. Then I guess I wrote it wrong. I have 1 through 12 there, so it must have gone 14. I had it on my notes, 1 through 12. But anyway, it was I enjoyed it. Solo series delved into a lot of what he did with the guild and a lot of New Orleans stuff, and not to mention, I believe every cover was one of those great Greg Land covers.
Wow!
Right. So you can't go wrong there. So
Actually, I'm going to correct myself on that. That was a 1 through 12 volume 4.
Okay, all right. So
Jamie must have typed that wrong.
Okay, that's fine because I had in my notes 1 through 12. So that's what I had thought it was. But there we go. So it's 12 issues. So folks, you got 2 less issues to have to buy. It's only 12.
There
you
go. Unless you buy variants.
Well, that's a whole nother.
And then there's 16.
Yeah. Oh, that means that's a 250 issue set.
Wow, there you go.
Yeah. So those are my picks. So
very good picks, Gary. Very good.
Thank you.
All right, Tim, let's see yours.
All righty. So I have obviously his first appearance. Uncanny
Second? Oh,
yeah, appearance. Okay.
It is ladies and it's
This sounds like a new top. This is a top 10 episode.
Thanos,
Yeah, it sounds like
Thanos,
it.
With
potato,
Sal
potato.
and Tim. I mean, with Dan and Tim.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is the book that is worth the money, honey. Uncanny X-Men 266. You want it, you need it, you gotta get it. So that's the one right there. Doesn't matter about any annuals or anything like that. That's where the money is. Gambit 1 through 4. Dan went over that very eloquently. So there's not much more I need to say. However, I will say that it is integral to the character. Those 4 issues deep dive a lot into Gambit himself, some of his past, and things that happened during the course of those 4 issues. That is a must read. And down below, even though I talked about AVX versus number 2 as one of his badass moments, Avengers versus X-Men 1 through 12, he is a part of that. And you get to see him on his side, the X-Men versus the Avengers. It's a classic story all on its own, and you definitely need to read it.
Oh, great picks, Tim. And just let me say that title card is pretty cool for the recommended reading.
Right, with Wolverine right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, with Wolverine as the king. You know?
Yeah, that's great.
I was wondering why the king had claws.
That's right.
All right, Tim, please pull mine up there.
You got it.
All right, so I'll just jump to the middle one there. Gambit 1 through 4, Volume 1. 3 out of the 4 of us has already, recommended this one, so it's a definite. Got to put it on there.
Yep.
I'll jump up to the top there. Gambit and the externals. 1 through 4, short mini, Age of Apocalypse. If you've never read the Age of Apocalypse stuff, you have to read it all, and you have to read this as well.
Well, the externals is, I think, one of the more important of all of the title changes.
True.
I think in that one, weren't they trying to get the Mcron crystal because they were going to use that to fix the timeline?
Yeah.
Right. They were. Yep. That's exactly right. So they were hopping across galaxies as well.
Yeah.
So definitely check out the Gambit externals 1 through 4. And for my last one, I got Gambit King of Thieves. This is Gambit Volume 3. King of Thieves storylines from 13 to 17. One of these guys from MI13 calls in a favor on Gambit to recover a stolen enchanted artifact. It's a really good story. Really showcases a lot of good thieving skills, I think, and definitely one to check out. You really should check out the whole volume, but if you really just want to see this, go read issues 13 through 17.
Nice.
Isn't it Pete Wisdom that's the one that does it?
Pete Wisdom.
Yeah.
Yep. Definitely. Yep, Pete Wisdom.
Right on.
All right. So on to our what? Did I miss something? What's going on? What?
I was in super relaxed mode.
Yeah. Gary's over here like this.
Yeah. Well, I was kicked back, relaxed, watching my draft selection, and then I got right back in screen full.
Oh my God, that's wonderful.
In readiness.
Get ready.
This is why we're the greatest show on YouTube.
The camera's not right on me.
Yep.
You're off eating an ice cream. That's what you're doing.
There you go. We're all doing something behind the screen. So,
all right, folks. Next section now is our best writer and artist. So, Tim, why don't you go ahead and kick us off for that?
I brought receipts for that too, ladies and gentlemen.
God, more post-it notes. Man's a king.
So, I've got stacks of them. I like them. I stick them everywhere. If you could see my long boxes, they're covered in post-it notes with all kinds of different information on
wow.
I mean, that's how I label mine. I just put a post-it note on the end of it, write what's in the box.
Exactly.
I do that too. Yeah.
That would have been very helpful for Brad Pitt at the end of 7.
That is exactly true, right? What's in the box?
I just wrote the box for mine.
What's in the box?
It's her head. What do you know? Okay, so I'm going to do writer first because artist, I'm going to go way against Tim Grain on that one.
Oh, gosh.
So for writer, I would love to see Jed McKay write a Gambit series. I would love to see that. I think with what he's done on Avengers and what he is currently doing on Moon Knight, I think he could write a very fun, action-packed, thriller type story and have all of that mixed in and mix it very well so it's very smooth and very awesome. I think he could do 4 issues or take it and run and do a maxi or even an ongoing. The
Tim,
artist,
I got a question for you.
Yeah.
So if there's a character that you really hate, would the writer you pick be Zeb Wells because you really want him to screw up that character?
No, because
No.
I think Zeb Wells is a fucking disaster.
Oh, there's the F-bomb.
There he is.
Yeah,
There it is.
There it is.
I don't think Zeb Wells should write anything. I think he
I
The
should.
only thing Zeb Wells should write is his own obituary.
I shouldn't
Oh,
even do
gotcha.
that because he'd make it sound too good. He just needs to not touch paper and pencil or a typewriter or anything with keyboards.
What about
anymore.
Post-it notes?
No,
Post-it notes okay?
definitely
Wow.
not. So Jed McKay for writer. Now for artist, this is an artist that I don't hate, but I don't like his style. But I think for a Gambit story, at least a mini, I think his art style would be perfect. And that would be Jay Lee. So writer Jed McKay, artwork Jay Lee for a Gambit story.
Interesting. Jay Lee, very stylized.
And I am not a Jay Lee fan, but for a Gambit story, if it was based in New Orleans, and have all of that in there, I think he'd be perfect.
Funny Jay Lee story. One of my cardiologists, his name is Jay Lee, spelled the same way.
Oh, wow.
And I told him about, that Jay Lee was an artist. And then, of course, I told Jay Lee, the artist, that my cardiologist was. So they both got a kick out of that.
That's
story.
great.
That's pretty funny.
And I'm like you. I don't usually like highly stylized art.
Yeah.
But I think there's something about Jay Lee's that is really cool.
It's gotta be like, in order for me to like Jay Lee, like when he did Hellshock, that was perfect. That was great. That's his thing. But when he did Batman Superman in the New 52, I thought it was atrocious, and I couldn't wait to get past those issues. When he did
I like him better as a cover artist, I will say that.
I agree on that. When he did X Factor, I hated it. I did not like that at all. But for something like this, I think he'd be perfect.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I've got a Jay Lee book signed by him. It's a Master Race, Dark Knight Master Race, I believe, and it's Batman jumping with the lightning in the background type situation.
Cool.
Gary, that's what you need to do. You need to get the artist Jay Lee to sign a book and dedicate it to the cardiologist Jay Lee. Then you can give that to him. Be like,
there you go.
In your lobby.
And he should sign it Jumpstart My Heart.
Yeah.
There you go.
Or just I heart you.
I heart you.
Done.
Yep.
He's a
Steve
much
says
better.
He's a much better cover artist. Yep.
I agree. Chris.
I agree. I don't think that Jay Lee ever needs to touch Superman ever again. Please God, no. But for Gambit, I think he'd be good.
I thought he drew an interesting Catwoman when he was doing her covers.
Yeah, I can get behind that.
Okay.
I get behind.
All right,
her
Gary,
too.
how about you?
So for writer, I really had a hard time with writer. So, because there have been so many different writers that have done good things with him. So I defer to what we always do on the X-Men when we can't pick a writer, Chris Claremont.
Claremont.
Can't go wrong.
It's right. It's not a bad choice.
Nope.
It's
a safety.
No,
Yeah.
He's the guy that co-created him.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. So I'm going to go back to the guy that co-created him. And for the artist, when I did my covers, I ended up having the same guy do 2 covers. I really love how Greg Land draws Gambit, and I know he's got the influence of the women. He looks, he draws them like porn stars, and that works for me. But he drew a series.
When the man draws, though, he can draw.
Oh, absolutely. His women are beautiful. His men are very handsome. He draws. He draws pretty people. He did a series for CrossGen called Sojourn that Ron Mars wrote. Mm-hmm. This was a great series. It was a great quest. And there's a female archer named Arwen that was trying to find these fragments of this, great, important, mystical arrow. And it never finished because CrossGen went belly up. But there was a character in there, a thief, and I believe his name was Gareth. And he and Gambit really look alike. So,
oh, wow.
So there's a big time resemblance with the way he draws them. But I just love the way he draws Gambit. So, and usually I try not to do a cover artist so much with these and give credit to the guys that do the interior. But, you know, I just, you know, like I said, Greg Land's work on that character just make me surpass that initial urge and pick him as my artist.
Well, he's done a lot of interior work too, and especially a lot of X-Men stuff.
Well, he has, but you know, on that Gambit series that I was pointing out, he did not do the interiors on that. But I think you're right, Dan. I think he's got enough bona fides that I don't have to feel too guilty about picking a cover artist. But like I say, I just love the way he draws Gambit.
Good stuff. All right, Dan, how about you?
I'd like to give a shout out for a writer to the combination of Fabian Nicieza and Scott Lobdell, because in the 90s, you know, when Gambit was introduced and, you know, really became one of the most popular X-Men, you know, they were the two that were writing X-Men and Uncanny X-Men, you know, and even though there was the X-Men team, you know, the gold team and the blue team, they were still showing up in the others' books all the time. You know, and they each wrote, like, you know, and they've, you know, written him in those books, you know, written him in, you know, his own solo series too. So I have to give a shout out to them. But with that said, I got to go with Chris Claremont. He co-created the character. He, you know, wrote him that first year or so, that first year or two that he was around. And I mean, just look, you know, like when we're listing all of our badass moments, I think between all of us, like 3 of them were ones that were written by Claremont.
There you go.
You know, the take the whole deck, the Wolverine Danger Room thing, you know.
Bang, you dead.
Yeah, bang, you dead. You know, the one I did where he, you know, took the spike and, you know, picked the lock with his feet. And so I'll go with Claremont. And for artists, I mean, I kind of go with this other co-creator, Jim Lee. I mean, Jim Lee draws a fantastic Gambit. And you know, the one thing that he really nails with the character is the hair.
Yes.
Gambit's got that, you know,
the swoop.
The coif, you know, whatever you want to call it. He's got the, you know, the coif, like the way the face mat kind of helmet mask thing he does, and the way the hair comes over it. Nobody does it like Jim Lee does. Malduro was good with it, but like Jim Lee nailed it, because some artists will draw it like, you know, like too. Me too, Snoop. He was my best favorite.
Yeah,
you know, some artists will draw like the hair like too big, too much. Some will draw it where it's just like normal kind of hair. Like Jim Lee hit that perfect balance.
Nice.
Which was funny. It was funny too, because even though he was the co-creator, there were 3 artists that drew Gambit before he ever did. Because Art Adams drew him in his first appearance, which was an Uncanny X-Men annual.
Didn't Andy Kubert do the cover?
In his second appearance in Uncanny X-Men 266, Andy Kubert did the cover, and I don't know what he was thinking with the way he drew those pants, but then do you know who the interior artist was on that book?
Jim Lee?
No.
Who?
Mike Collins.
Wow, okay.
Wait a minute.
On Gambit's first appearance.
Wait a minute. Mike Collins was the module pilot that circled the Earth while Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin stepped on the moon. I didn't know Michael Collins had a second career like that. That's pretty amazing.
And you know what? And that's why 266 came out after the annual. There was a shipping delay because he was drawing it when he was up on the moon.
Up in space as he was circling the moon.
Back in 1959.
The data transfer was a little bit slow.
Yeah, he didn't get the pages back in time.
Yeah.
So that's why that's the second appearance. But it was Uncanny X-Men.
I'll pull the strings so me and Dan can do a Gambit book. There you go.
Oh yeah, that would be tight.
I'll do that.
It was 267 when Jim Lee drew it, but even in that, if you look at the credits and, you know, the artist credits in it, where it says, like, you know, writer Chris Claremont and that, it doesn't. It just says art by Homage Studios, and then it just said Lee and Portasio, and I forget. There's like a third artist listed. I forget who it is. So his first 2 appearances, there were 3 other artists that handled it, before the guy that co-created him ever had published stuff with him.
That is interesting how that worked out.
Well, then also since Tim picked who he'd like to see do it, I think it would be cool to see the and their frequent collaborators, the team of Brubaker and Phillips. I think it would be cool to I think it would be cool to see them do a Gambit series like Tim said, like taking place in New Orleans. I think it would be cool to see them, since they do so much like noir stuff. It would be cool to see them do like a noir Gambit book that takes place in New Orleans.
Brubaker would.
I'd love to see Brubaker and Epting
do Gambit.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah,
that would be good. Yeah,
man, a lot of good.
I just said Brubaker and Phillips because they do all those all those different noir books and stuff together. And I think it would be cool to see them, to see them do something like that with Gambit.
Wow, right on.
Oh, those criminal books by Brubaker and Phillips are.
Sal, you don't need to pick anything, man. We've given you the whole thing here.
You have, and Jim Lee and Claremont are my runner-ups.
Oh,
I was going to choose.
I swear to Slayer, I was going to
splash the Brubaker ID at the desk. Anyhow, I actually went with artist with Lee Weeks, who did Volume 1 of Gambit. And I liked the hair flow that he did on him, but I liked the way he drew him. And I went with Howard Mackey as the writer.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, but Jim Lee and Claremont are, very close, very close second. So
yeah,
I had to give the, because I always feel like I go to Claremont. I went to Claremont for the last 6 or 8 episodes where when Claremont's being mentioned. I always
can't go wrong with him though.
No,
I know.
You can write Claremont on a character he never even did,
and be like, oh yeah, that was great.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be great.
Hey Claremont, go ahead and write a 4-issue mini of Puck and the Thing on an adventure together. You got it. I'll have it in by Sunday.
Actually, that sounds like it probably would be kind of a fun read.
That would be awesome.
That would be like the movie Twins.
Yep. Judd and Grimm hit the road.
Oh my god!
This thing like Puck riding on the Thing's back,
done.
Like Master Blaster and in Mad Max Escape from Thunderdome.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Run, Bartertown, Master Blaster,
power on.
All right, folks. I think this wraps up this episode. Any last tidbits of golden nuggets of wisdom? Anybody from the audience? Anybody in the chat?
Gentlemen, go.
Yes, I have nuggets of wisdom that 6 of the first 12 picks in the draft were QBs. How about that?
Go where the money is.
And there'll probably be maybe 2 of them that are actually good.
And I hope it's one of mine. I hope it's mine.
Uncanny X-Men.
Fuji says we need that team up. I'm assuming between Thing and Puck. And I have to agree.
Marvel, let it happen.
We call it Thuck.
We could call it Ping. I don't know.
Oh, Ping works too.
Yeah, Ping.
Oh, shit.
Wow.
The thucking Ping.
Oh my god, that's great.
Ping
I've created a monster.
That sounds kind of dirty. What's your new book called? Oh, it's called Ping Thuck.
Ping.
And wait till you see the Brown Lantern book we're doing for DC.
Oh, I know.
I was gonna say, Ping Thuck. It would be a book that Gary would show off, and then Sonny would have to go try to get a copy of it. Sonny's
obsessed. Sonny is obsessed with Vegetable Lover and Amputee Love. Sonny is out of his mind obsessed, and he's going to walk around and ask for those at C2E2 and get kicked out. And somebody, we asked, to people put in bets on when you think he's going to get kicked out, and somebody said he doesn't even make it in the door.
Jamie said it would be Friday when the doors
open. Yeah, buy my brown ring. There you go.
I haven't looked up Amputee Lover, but I did send him a link where he could buy a copy of Vegetable Lover.
Oh,
Gary, send him the picture so he can be in on this horrendous atrocity.
Who is that?
Too. Dan. He hasn't seen what it looks like yet.
You haven't seen Vegetable Lover?
No, Amputee Love.
Oh, Amputee Love you haven't seen.
I'm pretty sure I saw that one.
I think he's seen
Did you?
Love.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he's seen that because
I
remember being on the same show.
We are way off track, ladies.
There's everybody on the cover is missing something. That's the
Yeah.
thing. And there's sexual shenanigans. There's nudity. There's a fellow with a cane putting
It's
it in.
family-friendly fun.
But Gary, give him the point though. It was written by.
It was written by an amputee, and as my good buddy Damien of Warthog Comics says, it's an instruction manual. It's a how-to. So there you go. It's instructive. So, you know, how can you go wrong when you were instructing folks, you know, on how to do certain...
Snoop, is that true? Did it earn a Hugo? That needs to be looked up. We'll have the answer for you on Saturday.
Didn't Damien tell you that if you actually sold it to an amputee, he'd get a bonus?
Yes, he did. Damien said if you can sell this to an amputee, there'll be a bonus for you. When I was working this booth in Baltimore, and sure enough, a fella rolled in a wheelchair, missing some body parts, and I couldn't do it.
You should have said, "I see that you're missing some body parts, sir, but I know what can make you whole again."
Yeah, there you go.
Amputee Love, winner of the Hugo Award and the Pulitzer.
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, we just went right off the ledge there.
Well,
the Gambit episode ended, and we just went right over.
Yeah,
as Tim says, we are way past that first 15-minute standards thing we have to worry about. Yeah. There's nobody that held on this long.
No, whoever's in the chat right now or has made it through the episode after the fact, you guys are the real winners.
That's right. That's right. And if anything we say is offensive, it's your own damn fault for sticking around so long.
We are not sorry. Right?
Let's blame Tim.
You know what? These guys are on it, but I also started and run a Facebook page, a meme page called "We're All Doomed." So let's have a laugh while the world burns. And whenever we get new members frequently, feel free to join. I will let anybody in. I will let you post whatever you want as long as it's funny. That's all that matters. But whenever I start getting a bunch of new people in, I put a new post up and I'll say that applies here. What I post is just remember, nobody cares about your feelings.
No.
If you don't like it, just keep scrolling.
Love you too, Chris. Love you too, brother.
We love you,
man.
The other day, there was a hilarious one where the fellow wanted his wife to tell him something that would make him happy and sad at the same time.
Do we want to carry this off air?
Yeah.
Tim can edit this out later.
I'm not editing this show.
I'm just saying, tune in to see what that gag was. It was great.
I'm not doing this one. Jamie's got this one.
All right, then let's wrap this up. I am your host, Sal the Slab Guy, and when I am not here on the Codex Station, you can always find me on YouTube under Sal's Comic Corner or on Instagram when Dan allows, the Slab Guy 77. Dan, why don't you give a quick shout out to where they can find you? Oh, sorry. There you go.
Dan Kelly on Instagram. Go check it out. Go give me a follow, and I don't know. Click like on a few things, and then check out this guy and this guy. Not so much this guy.
Oh, that's wrong.
I'm just kidding. Check him out.
And check out Dan Kelly. Buy his art. I have bought some art from him, and I am thrilled to have it. And he has generously gifted me some art that look at that.
That is on my desk.
And he is a CGC certified artist. So
that's
just like that wonderful Swamp Thing cover he made for me that I know we showed on the air. He sent that, got it graded. It's come back with a yellow label, and I can't wait to have it in my possession. That'll be a treasured thing. So you can catch me at Comic Logic. We're Loudoun County, Virginia's only comic book store. If you're in the Northern Virginia area, please come in and see us. We would love to have you. I'm one of the proud co-owners and happy to be affiliated with it. We just celebrate our 9th anniversary. 2 big events coming up that I want to tell you about. May the 4th on Star Wars Day. Saturday is also Free Comic Book Day, Star Wars Day. Those 2 great things intersect. And to celebrate that, we will have Mr. Brendan Wayne there signing autographs. He is the fellow that plays the Mandalorian when the helmet is on. So come see him, meet him, get an autograph. Also, if you all care, I know I do. He's John Wayne's grandson, which means a hell of a lot to me because the Duke is my guy. So I am going to be thrilled to meet that man and get his signature on one of my John Wayne books. Also, in May 19th, we have on a Sunday, we have our Spring Lot Con where we will turn our parking lot into a mini Comic Con. We'll have about 30 vendors there, comics, toys, local authors, local artists, probably jewelry. So please come see that. And You may even encounter CODEX station personnel.
Ooh.
We may have Dan there. We may have Sal there. I'll definitely be there. So CODEX and Comic Logic coming together, another great intersection. Please come see us. We would love to have you there.
All right.
Now back up to that wonderful man up top.
Well, first you got to talk about this, though, really quick.
Oh, that's right. Thank you. That's the second time tonight I've not mentioned him. Thank you so much. The reason that you see these four beautiful, beautiful faces in front of you is because we all got acquainted on the Comic Character of the Day site, started by our good buddy, Archduke Kevy. And it is a wonderful site that is just all about the love of comics. Dan posts a random panel of the day. He posts a question of the day. Sal is always Sal is always commenting on what we post on there. I post the cover of the day, and our buddy Tim, like Jamie, ever vigilant, always watching, making sure that we are giving you the content you deserve. So a shout out to Archduke Kevy, because we all became acquainted on that site. So, there you go. There you go. Where can you? It's not like you can't find that online, but we're leaving. That's right. Very special. And speaking of very special, there we go. Up top.
Tim the Terrible. Right
Ladies and gentlemen, please, 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 we want to say thank you very much for being here with us tonight. We have enjoyed it. We enjoy your company. I hope that you have enjoyed ours. We are very thankful and blessed that you have let us into your homes or your bathrooms while you're watching.
Oh, my.
Ladies and gentlemen,
more brown lanterns.
There you go. We've got something for you.
If it's brown, flush it down. If it's yellow,
let it mellow.
Wow.
We've got something for you, ladies and gentlemen. We want to give it to you. What would that be, Gary?
Oh, man. Here at the CODEX station, all these beautiful faces you see ahead of us, we are just filthy with the socials. We have them all. The socials, we are infected with the socials, and we have them, and we would love to give them to you.
There you go, ladies and
just
gentlemen.
Dripping from us.
At the CODEX station, your favorite social media platform, and Snoop was actually pooping. Dropping brown lanterns.
That's
yeah.
Right,
there we go. Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, your favorite social media platform, and where we're live streaming right now while you're on the can. Hit the like, share, subscribe, and follow. That's the greatest way you can help a channel like us out. Get the algorithm noticing us. That way more people can see us just like you on the shitter. And ladies and gentlemen, when you run out of the TP and you send Dan to the store to get milk and smokes, and you send Gary to the grocery store to get a bottle of carbonated water to clean out the brown stain on the carpet mess, while Sal is standing there at the grill going, I don't know. You need a t-shirt. Go to the codexstation.com for all your CODEX needs. Get some merch, meet the team, and so much more. Tim,
again, that's quite a picture you just painted. That's something.
It's I try and make it something different every time.
That was pretty different. I applaud you, my friend.
Right on. All right.
When I'm at the grill, I'm only wearing my Green Lantern apron. That's it.
I got him for Christmas.
And just like Arby's, Sal's got the meats.
My Lord. All right.
I give you the meat sweats.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Tim the Terrible. This beautiful host over here is Sal the Slab Guy. Underneath him is Dan the Kelly Art, and right next to him is the man who holds the pillars of CODEX, Uncle Gary.
Something I need to tell you. You know why so many offensive linemen were drafted tonight?
Why?
Because teams needed to fill their gaping holes.
Oh, that was right on cue.
Subtle,
love you, ladies and gentlemen.
Subtle segue.
We will see you next time. Can I hear
see
it
you
one
next
more
week,
time
folks?
For when
gaping holes. Gaping holes.
Brown lanterns. Brown lantern.
We love you. Bye. And I'm frozen.